Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 394th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So even though it feels like it just started, today's LP is going to be the final pick for this set of modern favorites. And I thought it was high time that I returned to what is hands down one of the best rapper-producer duos to come out of the 2010s, that of course being Freddie Gibbs and Madlib. The last time I had these two on the channel was when I covered their debut collaborative album, 2014's Pinata, which not only blew virtually everyone's expectations out of the water, but it took Freddie Gibbs' already budding career to new heights. And I can definitely admit that this was the LP that made me start to take this dude seriously as an MC and lyricist. Of course, Madlib, on the other hand, was already an underground hip-hop icon in no need of a status boost, and he's been on the page multiple times already for completely unrelated output, from the masterpiece that is Mad Villainy, which he created with the late MF Doom, and solo projects like The Unseen, which he put out under Quasimodo, to classic 90s material like Sound Pieces to Antidote, an album that Madlib released as one-third of the Crew Loop Pack, or even Champion Sound, the collab album with the arguable GOAT J Dilla, which the two masterminds put out under the name J-Lib. Freddie Gibbs came along much later, and even though he'd already made some noise through the mixtape circuit, even making it into the 2010 XXL freshman class, it was Madlib's lush, rich production that would give a whole new context to Freddie's dope-dealing raps. Personally, I still view Pinata as the better of the two LPs that this duo has put out so far, but I do know there's a good amount of fans out there who prefer the 2019 follow-up Bandana here, and while it isn't quite as grand or expansive as their initial undertaking, this was still an incredibly enjoyable follow-up that was well worth the 5-year wait. And I may not play it quite as much nowadays, but when this album first dropped, I was basically just playing it back-to-back constantly for at least a good week or two. There's a clear shift in tone here when compared to Pinata, since if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Madlib made all of the beats for this thing on an iPad or something, though it still sounds like they are in the same universe, which makes sense considering Bandana is all but directly a sequel. Maybe the most drastic change made here is how Madlib occasionally switches from his prototypical soul-filled sample flips to more trap-flavored instrumentals, with blaring hi-hats and booming 808s. And it's almost like he's making a statement that says, just because I pioneered minimal underground hip-hop doesn't mean I can't do what the average trap producer does with my eyes closed. These more contemporary moments are just sparse enough to where they add an exciting change of pace, yet don't detract from the main themes or aesthetic at all, especially since Freddie was already well accustomed to these type of beats. And much like the R&B type of tracks here, where Freddie employs melodic flows that sometimes cross over into pure singing territory, at the end of the day, these are just different outlets for the skilled MC to spin these tales of drug dealing, which he manages to always keep fresh, and never struggles to find new, interesting ways to delve into these reoccurring topics. This isn't dissimilar to how Pusha T operates, and I bring up the Clips veteran, because he makes a memorable appearance on the track Palmolive alongside Killer Mike, and Push delivers one of his cleanest verses to date. But the song I want to actually share some bars from is definitely Education, as that's hands down my favorite moment on Bandana. Not only does it have this grand, colorful instrumental that winds and builds beautifully, but it also includes a couple of top-tier features, this time in the form of Mos Def, aka Yasin Bey, and Black Thought of The Roots, who both deliver poignant, thought-provoking verses on the education system. And while Freddie does stray a little bit from that theme, he pulls off such an impressive flow pattern here, with so many memorable lyrics that it still ends up being one of the best moments on the LP. He takes the third and final verse here and comes in spitting heat right off the bat, rapping, Wooden leather buck talk, China white with cut talk. Pain train a hoe could never put me in a slut walk. Education, traponomics, narcotic plug talk. My hands was right back in the bird soon as they took the cuffs off. Gotta feed your fucking wolves or they gon' feed on a brother. It's quite ironic how all this ice'll keep the heat on a brother. My cousin beat me for a pack and I put the beam on that brother. And I don't gotta finesse the plug because I Debo that brother. Used to be P's and O's, dropping op like Pop's stinky load. Last Friday, hit by the pose, threw dope in the commode. Got off the stove and slowed my roll, I'm in the mosque now. But I'll still serve you a baked potato Bobby Johnson style. You ain't lit, you litter like Trump Twitter feed. Black mobster shit, I'm more Melvin Williams than Genovese. Them fist fights had me swapping blood with my enemies. You ain't from no set if you weren't gangbanging in Little League. I may not be here, I'm feeling like I might just leave before I start a fire or a fight. $1 million fucking dollars a year just won't suffice. Gotta factor in that more bad habits and the cost of life. Cost of life, we stay so high that's why we can't come up. My credit score is 0, I'm still pulling ranges up. Them cash counters is counteractive to paper cuts. Gas by a pump like when Dominique used to lace 'em up. I changed it up, I pray the streets don't take what's left of me. Drugs for the free, souls sold separately. I've already delved into pretty much all of the featured artists on Bandana, but there's still one more guest appearance to mention, that being Anderson .Paak. And as you may have expected, there wasn't really any outside assistance on the production here, considering all 15 tracks were completely handled by Madlib. So with that being said, I'm gonna get right into my overall 3 favorite moments on this thing, which would definitely have to be Education, Palmolive, and Goddamn. As for the honorable mentions, I still want to recommend songs like Freestyle Shit, Half Man, Half Cocaine, Crime Pays, Massage Seats, Fake Names, Giannis, Practice, Cataracts, and Soul Right. Thank you for watching my 394th video. Next time we're returning to the 1980s, where I'm going to cover someone who wasn't just a pioneer, but he played a pivotal role in directly birthing the culture. So look out for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite tracks are off this satisfying follow-up. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.